Hey everyone, it's Jennine, your local realtor here in the Edmonton area. Today we're going over how the end of the year, December 2024, ended up for the real estate market in Edmonton and our predictions for what is coming up for 2025. All right, so before we get started, I just want to remind you this report is just for the city of Edmonton alone. So if you aren't familiar, there are little tiny cities surrounding Edmonton. It's called like the Greater Edmonton area. There's Sherwood Park, St. Albert, Nisku, Beaumont, Leduc, Spruce Grove, all these other places. We aren't focusing on that today. It's just for the city itself, but we do still work in all of those areas. So if you're curious about one of those areas, feel free to send me a message. I'd be happy to help. All right, let's dive into it. So looking at detached single family homes, 540 sold, or 1,234 active listings. So in percentage, just over 30% sold in the month of December. So looking at new listings versus sold, this is interesting. Our sales are outpacing our listings. Now, normally this time of year is slower. It slows down in the holidays. However, it didn't really slow down as much as you would think. I feel like this is trending for a very busy spring, that we're already outpacing new listings for sales, and you can see it. Normally we always see a little bit more of a dip around this time of year because it is slower. It's the holidays, it's winter, all of that combined usually leads to a little bit of a dip, but this year we are seeing a bit of an increase month to month and a very big increase year to year in detached single family homes. So the average price sitting at just over $530,000 compared to last year at $478,000. Taking a look at the average price through the year, we have pretty much stayed above previous years and are continuing to do so. So what is selling now? Taking a look at this, once again, if you've been following for a while, you'll know that the most popular prices are between $300 up to $500. And you can see that on the graph here. Sales are outpacing the listings once again, and that is continuing to drive up prices. And I think it will do so throughout 2025 as well. That market between 300 to 500 is very active and very busy. As soon as we cross the $500,000 price point, it switches up a little bit. You'll see a lot more active versus sold listings. When we take a look at months of inventory, this also reflects the pricing that we're seeing. So keep in mind, 4 months of inventory is what's considered a balanced market. Anything higher than 4 is usually becomes a buyer's market. There's lots of inventory, buyers have their pick. Anything less than 4 is usually a seller's market, meaning there's not much inventory, buyers don't have much to choose from, and therefore prices increase. When we look at that division between 300 to 500, you'll notice that we are less than a month's worth of inventory. It's very, very low inventory for this price range, and it will continue to be like this. I believe we will see a surge in inventory coming as we get closer to spring, out of the winter months. However, we will see more buyers too, especially with interest rates decreasing. So even though we're going to see more inventory, there's going to be more buyers. So it will likely stay at the same kind of situation. Days on market, for the most part, we're seeing 40 plus, except again, bringing it back, 300 to 500, less than 40 days on market. How many are selling at or over list price? So again, that 300 to 500 is leading the pack, with almost up to 40% of them going at or over list price, and followed by 500 to 600, and all the rest kind of decreasing from there. Now, normally at this time of year, these numbers aren't as high, especially between 30 and 40. I would say it would be normally around 20, less than 20. So I think, again, we are gearing up for a very busy spring. Looking at duplexes and townhomes, and I want you to remember there's two types of duplexes and townhomes. We have condos and then non-condos. Each one are very different. The ones in the condos are usually a little bit lesser price, and the ones that are not a part of a condo, usually a little higher in price. So taking a look at actives versus solds, we had a lot of activity here, a lot of solds versus actives. So almost 40% sold of the listings, of the active listings. So looking at again, the listings versus new listings versus solds. Again, in this division, townhomes and duplexes the sales are outpacing the new listings. It was very similar last year where the sales slightly outpaced the new listings, and that set the stage for a very busy spring last year. So I feel like we are going to see the same, and you can see it again in the pricing. Normally this time of year we see a little bit of a decrease. However, this time we are seeing an increase month to month and a very big increase year to year. Taking a look at the average prices throughout the years in comparison, normally at the end after October we see dips, and this year we are seeing an increase. Let's take a look at what's selling in this division of townhomes and duplexes. So the majority sales are happening again between that $300,000 to $500,000 range, and there's a pretty big reason for this. Across Canada right now, almost in every city, everything is super unaffordable. We are seeing a very big population moving to Edmonton, as we are one of the last cities to have this big increase. So it's pretty rare in other cities to find the same types of properties worth $300,000 to $500,000. And the question is how long will this price stay? Looking at months of inventory, so remember, going back to what I said, 4 is balance, higher than 4 is a seller's market, higher than 4 is a buyer's market, and lower than 4 is a seller's market. So most everything between 3 to 500 again is about a month's worth of inventory. So very low inventory again. Days on market, everything is across the board 30 days or more. And sold at or over list price, you're going to see some fairly big numbers here again, between 30 to 40%, between 3 to 500, even the 500 to 600 was going at or over list price. You're going to see this one at 800 to 900,000, 100% selling at or over list, but there's only one that sold, so it kind of skews the numbers. Apartment style condos. Little less activity here. This is not surprising. 18.5% sold. Comparing new listings versus sold, so there were more listings than sold, which is pretty standard. Even though there was less sales and less activity in this division of the market, we are still seeing an increase, and this is pretty good for the apartment style condos. Normally at this time of year we would see a dip, but we saw a pretty big increase month to month and year to year. So comparing the prices year over year, you'll see usually there's always a dip, but right now we're quite above average. So what is selling in this market? The majority you'll see up to 200,000 and a little bit more in 2 to 300, and it kind of drops off from there. Months of inventory, there is more inventory with this style of property. However, you will notice that the most popular market of this style, up to 200,000, is starting to decrease in inventory, which is resulting in that jump in price that we saw earlier. So days on market, everything's more than 40 days on market. And sold at or over list price, you will see not as many as the other types of properties. So the highest being the 200,000 up to $200,000 market. Only 15% are selling at or over list price. All right, that's a very quick overview of the market for December and a few predictions on what's going to happen in 2025. I would love to get your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below, or if you have any questions or you want to know more about the market, go over things in a little bit more in depth, feel free, text me, call me, email, whatever works. I'm always happy to help. And until next time, see you.